Yo, what's up, my peeps? Man, let me tell you what. First of all, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jeff Stoltz. I'm the founder and the national director of Broken Chains. So what's Broken Chains? Well, we're a fellowship of bikers and motorcycle enthusiasts who have found hope and healing in Jesus Christ through the Christ-centered recovery process, helping others to realize that change is possible. There are a lot of people out there that don't realize that change is possible, man. And so we're just coming off the first ever Hope Dealer Training Conference. We had in Western North Carolina, man, and I got to tell you, there were some pretty amazing things that took place at the first annual Broken Chains Hope Dealer Training Conference. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about them. I want to talk to you a little bit about a few other things, and then maybe throw out a little bit about where we're headed, what direction we're headed in as Broken Chains. So first of all, man, we're recovery bikers or recovery people. Bikers and motorcycle enthusiasts. And the deal is, man, recovery and sobriety are two different things, right? I mean, we can find sobriety without Jesus, but we can't find recovery without Jesus. Because recovery is life, man. Recovery is what Christianity is all about, right? It's about getting something back. You see in John 10:10, Jesus said the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's the only thing the enemy wants, is to steal, kill, and destroy. And we spend most of our lives letting that happen. He said, but I've come that you could have life and have it to the full. See, that's what recovery is about. Recovery is about getting back that full life that Jesus Christ wants all of us to have, man. And we're in a really kind of a screwed up world, right? I mean, things are pretty tough. And the problem is, man, I hurt people hurt me, and I need recovery, man. I need a process. I need a program. I need people. I need the power, the people, and the process to help me to heal from the wounds, from people who've hurt me, from me hurting others, and just from life, man. Life comes at us, right? And the truth is, James talks about it in James 1:2. He says, we should take pure joy when life comes at us from every direction. I mean, what James is saying is we should be able to be happy when everything is falling apart. And what he goes on to say is, as Christians, when life happens, when everything's falling apart, it squeezes our faith into the public view. That's right, man. I mean, see, that's the thing. We have to learn how to live life in a way that when it happens, man, when it comes at us from every direction, when it's all falling apart, when things are going to hell in a handbasket, that we can still have a smile on our face, right? We can still have a pep in our step, man. We don't handle things naturally. We handle things supernaturally, right? I know my preacher was just talking the other day about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? I mean, and you might remember the story. King Nebuchadnezzar, he told them that they had to bow down to a false idol. And they said, we're not going to do it. And he said, well, then I'm going to throw you in the furnace and you're going to burn up. And this is what my pastor reminded me of the other day. You see, those three young men, they were just boys. They stood up for their faith when all hell was breaking loose, right? They stood up for their faith and they said this. They said, you know what? Our God can, our God might, but even if our God doesn't, he's still our God. Bam! I mean, that's how we have to learn to live our faith, right? And so I love that at the Hope Dealer Training Conference, right? I mean, check it out. As a recovery person, I was told years ago that in order to maintain my sobriety, in order to find some recovery in my life, two things have to happen. I have to have a spiritual experience, and I have to do something for somebody else. And I'm not talking about once. I'm talking about every single day, right? And so I was so blown away by this Hope Dealer Training Conference because everybody that I've talked to that was there tells me that they had an amazing spiritual experience which has compelled them to do something for somebody else at a higher level, at more of a degree than they were doing before. So at the Hope Dealer Conference, man, we learned about getting hope, finding hope, You know, we learned about keeping hope, even in the midst of the fire. And we learned about sharing hope in unique ways, right? I mean, if we're going to reach people the church isn't reaching, then we got to do some things the church isn't doing. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about what we learned at the Hope Dealer Conference, how we can put it into action, and then about next year's Hope Dealer Conference that we're already planning. Man, this is going to be an amazing event, just like this year. We had no idea what God was going to do at this Hope Dealer Training Conference. So at the Hope Dealer Training Conference, man, we talked first about how to get hope, right? I mean, we talked about, Romans 10:9 doesn't say confess with your mouth that Jesus is Savior. No, it says confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, right? I mean, we talked about there's too many people that want Jesus to be their Savior, but they don't want Jesus to be their Lord, because let me tell you something. When Jesus becomes the Lord of your life, man, you gotta live a little differently. You gotta, things become a little different in your life. You've got to act a little different. In fact, I heard it said that, if Jesus isn't real, then nothing matters. But as Jesus is real, then nothing else matters, right? I mean, he's got to be the Lord of our lives. So we talked about that. And then we talked about keeping hope. We talked about keeping hope even when life feels like it's falling apart. Like I just mentioned, man, we talked about being able to keep hope. Like Paul said, I've learned to be content in every situation. You see, that's not natural. That's supernatural. And that's what people have to see. You see, people out there in the world, man, they've got to see what we have and want what we have. And it's not about a bunch of rules. It's not about a bunch of religiousness. It's not about a bunch of mess, man. It's about living a supernatural life, man. It's about not getting upset every time we have an opportunity, man. It's about not falling apart when most people would, man. It's about continuing to keep our trust and faith in Jesus Christ, no matter what's going on around us. It's about walking by faith and not by sight. It's about not getting caught up in what's going on around us, man, but getting caught up in what's going on inside of us. And we talked about sharing hope, right? And I said it a few minutes ago, look, man, if we're going to reach people that the church isn't reaching, we got to do some things that the church isn't doing, man. And so we approach some special subjects, man. We of course, had evangelism from the best evangelist I know, Bill Horn from Chariots of Light, right? We learned about personal fundraising, man, how we can get some funds together to give away Serenity rags and other supplies and, homeless supplies to the, bags of care bags for the homeless and things like that from James Bittinger from Jesus and Motorcycles. Man, we learned about administering Narcan and saving people's lives with that life-saving drug from Casey and Tisha Temple from Recovery Alive. We learned about partnering with the local emergency medical services from Tara Tucker, man, about coming alongside our community paramedics and doing post-overdose visits, finding people recovery homes and treatment centers, getting them plugged in, giving them rides to treatment, coming alongside of people in Lebanon, right? But there's a million ways we learned about the value of mental health coaching and the people with suicidal ideology and how to be able to reach out and love on them and be God in the flesh, the hands and feet of Jesus for those people who are hurting tremendously, so much so that they're thinking about taking their own lives. We learned about that from Mike Wilson. I mean, we learned so much. We took in so much. We learned about having hope, about keeping hope, and about sharing hope. And so if you were at the Hope Dealer Training Conference, I hope, that's got a hokey doodle, I hope that you left with a desire to go out and change the world. If you weren't at the Hope Dealer Conference, don't worry, man, we got another one coming up May 1st, 2nd, 3rd next year. But if you weren't there, what I want you to know are there are ways that you can plug into this thing. There are ways that you can impact the world, unique ways. And that's what I want to talk to you about next, man. I want to talk to you about the fact that, like I said, we've got to do some things that the church isn't doing. Paul said it like this. He said, I'm going to become all things to all people so that by all possible means I might reach some. That means everything outside of sin is fair game, right? I'm not going to commit sin in order to reach people for the cause of Christ. That would be crazy. But man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to do pretty much anything else I can that'll drive a conversation, that'll help somebody to know that they can talk to me, that they can be safe with me, that they can feel the love of Jesus Christ through me. And I'm going to do that by all possible means. And I want you to know this. See, the people loved Jesus. But the church, man, the church hated Jesus. And so I might be willing to do some things that the church might look at and think I'm crazy, right? But I want to reach people for the cause of Christ by all possible means. So you're saying, what's this cat talking about by all possible means? You know, I don't want anybody to get messed up here, man. You know, I just want to tell you that traditionally, and you know, as we've come along for the last 7 years, you know, we've been committed to our recovery programs. We've been committed to being leaders and to traveling around and sharing our testimonies at recovery programs and churches and things like that. And that's important, man. I'm not saying that we don't need to do that anymore. We still need to do that. What I'm saying is we might need to do more, right? Because check it out. We're called to make a sacrifice. And a sacrifice isn't doing what we want to do. The sacrifice is doing what we don't want to do. So, you know, I spend a lot of time on the road. I spend a lot of time away from home, away from my wife, away from my friends, away from my bed, away from my recliner. You know, out on the road, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's not necessarily what I want to do, man. I mean, what I want to do is be at home. I want to be at home resting, relaxing, man. But it's not about what I want to do, right? Because we're called to be a living sacrifice, right? I mean, our very lives should be a living sacrifice, right? And so, yeah, we still need to keep leading at Recovery Ministries. We still need to keep sharing our testimonies and reaching people in church and serving in our churches, man. But we need to offer our bodies. Look, I hear people say, well, you know, I just don't have time. Man, that perplexes me. You didn't think I knew that word, did you, Jay? So, because the thing is, man, how much time are we really spending with our families when we could be out doing ministry, right? I mean, you can only play so many board games with your kids, right? Most of the time, the truth is, you're probably in the den watching some TV while the kids are out off doing Facebook or TikTok or any of that, though. So what I'm saying is, man, we do have time. We do have time. We had to be creative, and that was one of the really cool things about this training conference. That's one of the things that we've been doing right here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where I live, man. You know, there are things that we can do. We can be creative. You know, we have learned that partnering with community partners has opened a whole new world for us to do a myriad of things, man. You know, I mean, we not only go out for community events and cook lunch and hand out recovery information and serenity rags. I mean, we go over to where they're doing the medically assisted treatment, you know, over at the methadone, Suboxone clinics, right? And we love on some people there serving lunch or maybe passing out some banana nut bread or, you know, just showing people that we love them and we care, because here is the next level. This is what I want to talk to you guys about. We have been serving in our recovery ministries. We have been sacrificing and sharing. We have been serving in our churches and working in our churches, man. But the next level of service is reaching people in what they call the pre-contemplation stage. That's right. I mean, I'm talking about people that are not even considering recovery. People that are not even interested in going to church or finding a better life, right? I mean, because look, the world is reaching out to those people. I just can't tell you, man, when I think that thought, that the world is extending a hand to that community, and we're not, man. We're the body of Christ. You know, we have to be the answer. And if, you know, maybe some of you know my testimony, some of you don't. But the truth is, there was a biker preacher that came in a bar, that befriended me, that didn't try to shove religion down my throat, didn't beat me over the head with a Bible. He was just kind and caring, and he became my friend. And I relapsed back into my addiction. Didn't see him for 3 years. But when I was ready to make a change, he was the only person I knew that didn't get high. So I called him, and he invited me to church. And subsequently, everything changed. And so that's what I want to talk to you about. Next level opportunities to serve. You know, I've found that through harm reduction, right? A lot of people say, well, man, I don't want to get involved in passing out clean syringes or Narcan or condoms. I mean, you don't even want to talk about that stuff, right? But it's not a sin to hand those things out. Now, I'm not talking about, I don't endorse that behavior, but I want to build a relationship. Look, if I can hand out a clean syringe kit to somebody and it begins a conversation, a relationship, a friendship, that when they're ready, I'm the one they want to reach out to. That's some next level opportunity right there. That's some next level going after one more, right? Because when we talk about the master leaving the 99 to go after the one, you see, the one, he wasn't looking for the master. Come on, y'all. I'm talking about reaching people, man, that we will never reach at the church. People that are never going to stumble into our recovery ministries, right? People that are never going to roll in on a Sunday morning, right? Unless we go out for them. Unless we go out and show the love of Jesus Christ to people just by loving on them, man, by serving them. And you can get so creative. Look, I know everybody's not called to go to the homeless camp, but you don't have to go to the homeless camp. You can maybe go over to public health and help them pack wound care kits, right? I mean, you don't have to go to the bar and hang with a bunch of bikers, right? But you could go over to the methadone clinic with 100 loaves of banana nut bread and just give them to people with a little information about your local recovery program, maybe a Serenity rag. I mean, you don't have to do everything. You just have to do something, right? I mean, the truth is, I'm not telling you that you need to get out there and pass out clean needles and condoms. Don't get me in no trouble like that. What I'm telling you is we can only change the world. We can only change someone's world by all possible means, right? I mean, there's a way. There's always a way to serve to more of a degree. I mean, going around on a rainy day and handing out umbrellas to homeless people. I mean, doing first responder appreciation breakfast at your church. Going to the nursing home. Just having some conversations with some folks. I mean, there's plenty of ways. Look, I was thinking about that as I got this old bike. This is my 99 Road King, and I took it in for an inspection. Here in North Carolina, we're going to have inspections, right? And so there's no horn on the bike. I didn't realize that. I just got the bike last year. And so I was talking to them, and they said, well, to do it right, we got to put a bracket. We got to get the horn with the bracket. We got to mount that. Then we got to run wires up through the frame and through the handlebars to a switch. They said that's going to be about $800, right, to put a horn on your bike. And I said, well, I can't do that. So I went on Amazon. I found a bicycle horn. I strapped it onto my handlebars. And it works just as well. Passed inspection, you see, because I figured out a way. And so that's what I want you guys to realize. Look, we're going to be having some conversations over the next 6-8 months leading up to the next Hope Dealer Training Conference about next level service opportunities. And again, I'm not telling you to quit serving at your recovery ministry or at your church. I'm telling you that there are more opportunities to go after one more. Because look, are we really going after one more when we're just welcoming people to our recovery ministries or our churches? I'm not saying that's not important, but I'm saying that's not going after one more. If we're going to go after one more, we have to go after those people that are not even interested in getting well, not even interested in being saved, not even trying to find a new life. And how do we build relationships with them? How do we become the people in their lives that they reach out to when they're ready? By kindness, by love, by showing the love of Jesus Christ right where they are. See, we need to go out and meet people where they are. Love on them. Help them realize that they have value. And then when they're ready, guess who they're going to come see? You and me. And we're going to introduce them to hope. We're going to introduce them to Jesus Christ. That's what it's all about.